is like a mix between Latter-day Saints and Midsummer. Have you seen the movie Midsummer?
Oh yeah.
So people are like very friendly. He's a very friendly guy, but he's also, seen some shit, and he's also had some time to kind of reflect on um, what he's been a part of uh, now that he's out. And his the reason he got thrown out is because his grandson was attacked at a church potluck or some after church picnic event, and like a bugbear. I wanted to pick something that was more that worked in the world, but some kind of
Could be a troll. Trolls are a big problem.
troll, troll, and he conjures a magic missile in a moment of just it's got to happen, and you know the congregation is like, that was the wrong move. You retested and you failed. Like this is what if this is what why we are the way we are is when we're faced with these tough choices, we don't resort to the arcane.
What's your son's name?
Elric,
Eric?
Elric with an L.
Oh, like the famous Elric Melnibone.
Yep.
All right, so I like this. Now the cult you were in, it was the cult of the Night Lantern.
Yeah, I was thinking Night Lantern or Wave Mother. I was obviously leaning Night Lantern with the lore.
I think Night Lantern could work. One of the Night Lantern's actual like domains is magic, but I think that the way they see it, only lamp keepers should be allowed to like use magic. Like it's a divine right. And like mages and other religions and like nobles using these things to their advantage are, as they see it, evil and wrong. And pretty much anyone using magic that's not a lamp keeper of like one of the higher clerics of the Night Lantern.
Yeah, I dig that. Basically, he was acting above his station.
Yeah,
Uh,
like magic's not for you. Like that's the biggest sin. Like untrained or magic for your own personal use is all bad. um, cool. So in Black Hack you get a background, what they call a background, which is you just take the boiled down version of your backstory and put it into like a sentence or a phrase. For you, it's pretty much just anti magic cultist would be what I would say it is. But the way the background works is if you can argue at some point in the session how your background would have given you insider knowledge, an edge, or some sort of advantage at a task you're doing, you basically can give yourself one free advantage per session by doing that. And you can like make up any little backstory you want to explain it away, which is kind of the fun part. You get to like world build a little piece of your backstory. Like, oh, when I was a kid, we used to have to run on treetops because I'm a an elf child is my background. And so now that I'm like falling out of a tree, I'm going to take advantage on, saving myself, etc.
that's cool. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I really like how the background works. But so yeah, yours is cultist. Your hometown, where is he from?
I thought it would be like like kind of like a small commune. But I didn't have like a set town. Like it's kind of like they're in and of themselves.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can just make up whatever name you want for it. And if you put it on the map, I'll put you with a little map marker on there. Hold on, let me put you back on Tridia. There we go.
Okay, so I wanted to be kind of close to Sarkhan, so I was thinking like far edge of the map over here.
Okay. Like on the trade route there, or a little more into the desert.
Probably in between the two trade routes, sort of.
Okay.
Um, and Sarkhan is kind of like this nearby metropolis that's like this hive of scum and villainy that they talk about. Like, yeah, you keep acting like that, you'll end up in Sarkhan.
Yeah, it's like the Las Vegas of the area, and you're the Mormons.
Exactly. Um,
Hold on.
so I don't have a good name for the sect or the cult town.
We can roll something later, or actually, real quick here. Let me roll a name here. We like really plain spoken names in this universe. What about Grimdune?
Perfect. I was thinking some Dune, and a Grim is the perfect Dune.
Dope. I put a little Grimdune down there for you.
So yeah, he's Grim Doom. They're a little weird sect, and they're kind of not. They're kind of like an offshoot where they kind of do their own things. They keep their traditions. They follow their version of the cult rituals and stuff. Um, but Cedric's been banished for about 6 months now, so he's not quite. He was really despondent and just super. That's kind of why he went to Sarkhan. It was just like, I'm gonna go to the place where they always told me not to. If they're getting rid of me, then what's the point?
And the cult still has like your wife and kid, right?
Yeah, my grandson is still there.
Oh, it's your
My
grandson.
my grandson, yeah, my wife is still there. I have a fairly large family who I am now completely shunned from. Uh, and that's kind of part of Cedric's problem is that in the 6 months where he's been in Sarkhan and he has been talking to Asgear and learning about magic and kind of coming to the realization that it's not it's a tool. It's how you use it that can be good or evil.
Totally. This is like we're in an age now where magic is becoming a really practical thing. Like a lot of societies are building, they're learning you can do things like power machines, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Yeah, so he's kind of having this realization, and now he's kind of overcome with this guilt that, oh my god, like we were so backwards, and these people who live here, there's good people and bad people in Sarkhan. It's just like anywhere else, and we had these preconceived notions, about magic, and my perception was skewed, and I have put my family in a cult that I thought, he would never have described it as a cult. He thought it was a commune, like a commune, like a
sure.
family.
I would say too in this world they use the cult in the old sense. Like every religion is a cult here. So, but also every religion does crazy magic shit. So every religion is bad.
Yeah, right. If there was a, there was a good cult.
Yeah.
Uh, so he, you know, he's dealing with that now, and that's kind of why he's studying these arcane tomes and artifacts and seeing, he has discovered that, he can utilize this power. Is there something he can do to kind of show them the light? Is there some way he can utilize this new power to kind of undo the mistakes that he's made?
All right, I like that. So, again, let's nail down a couple details. When they kicked you out of your village, is there like an elder in the cult or some sort of leader that we can give a name to?
Uh, how about Elder Comsgrove, Com Grove,
Oh yeah,
Coms, and I was an elder as well, but he was head elder.
I
So he was
see.
head elder, and there's a council, and so it's not my first time around the block. I was pretty high up in this thing, um, and I think he'd also become. It wasn't like the moment he got kicked out that he was like, "This is bullshit." He'd kind of started to become disillusioned with the leadership, but
Sure.
it was a situation where it was like, okay, my friend, my entire social circle, my entire life is wrapped up in this, and I'm 70. Like,
Nice.
yeah,
I like this because right, Lauren and I are obsessed with Scientology and how fucking wacky it is, and she reads a lot of books and watches a lot of movies about it. And this is giving me big Scientology vibes.
yeah. Cedric is really just Leo Grimini.
All right, so I'm gonna call him Lampkeeper Comsgrove. He's allowed to use magic, just not you, asshole.
Yes.
So I put he expelled Cedric by turning the rest of the council elders against him after his magical outburst.
So,
Nice.
yeah,
Your ally.
my ally is the often mentioned Asgear. Really gets around, so that should be interesting. Um, Cedric is pretty lonely. He's an outsider to this place. He doesn't know how to really interact with people outside of his little sect. So Asgear, he would really consider Asgear like a close ally, and Asgear would be like, "Oh God, I'm not drunk enough for this." When What's Askier's gender?
She's a she.
She. So when she sees him, she's just like, oh my god. But he buys the drinks, and he'll bring his little homework things he's been looking at, books from the library, scrolls and stuff. That he's like, in this particular section, where there seems to be a discrepancy, could you expand on that?
Nice, yeah. I'm sure she's shown you that you can you don't need other people to learn magic and stuff, except for but one or two friends like her.
Yeah. So as long as he's buying the drinks, Cedric does not partake. But as long as he's buying the drinks, she'll kind of tolerate him, and she does kind of have a soft spot for him. But I see Asgear as kind of gruff and just like.
Oh yeah, very much. All right. And who was your other rival that you chose?
Starvin, scoundrel, miscreant, murderer. I hate Stalvin. He's a rat catcher with a photographic memory, and when Cedric first got his little hovel in Sarkani, got two rats, Mork and Mindy, and he loved these rats. He was training them. They were his friends. They were really his only companions. Um, and Starvin would talk shit when he'd see him like in the common area. They lived in like the same like complex, and he'd be like, "You're gonna get the plague," kind of like, uh, just like heckle him. Just like he's a rat catcher. This is ridiculous. This guy's fiddling around with these disease-spreading nuisances. Um, and he also seems not to like Cedric. It was just Cedric would kind of ignore him and not really. Um, Don't worry about him, Mork. He's got other problems clearly. And then one day Cedric comes home, and his rats are smashed on in the middle of his one-room little apartment. And Cedric has no proof that it was Stalvin who kills his rats, but he knows. He knows it was Stalvin. And he confronted Stalvin. He's like, confess! Murderer! And Stalvin's just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's like, "Oh, those were your pets. I kill all rats I see, so I wouldn't know if it was them or a different rat. I can't tell them apart." And then he stomps a rat with his boot, and then he's like,
All the time to me.
and then he's like, "See ya," and then he spits his cigarette and leaves. All
So
right, that's great.
Cedric's burnt up about it. He's really just, it's been months since that happened, and he's still just like lit up about it.
Great. All right, that's Cedric. That's good. Cedric, nominate somebody else.
Uh, Julie, you want to go?
Sure.
All right.
So I told Andy that we should tell you guys that we insist on being brother and sister in game as well.
Oh, that's fine.
But no, we're not at all. But I did think it was really funny. Like, no, we are only brother and sister. But we're not. I don't know that guy. My character is Cora Dean Finstock, and she is a cleric. She grew up in the small town, like outside of Solaria, not close at all, but that's kind of the closest town. And so I don't know exactly what the situation is like with the police, because I know you described the two, but her dad or her family has always been like the law of this town. So it just kind of like nepotism passed down. And so eventually like her dad was like the sheriff or whatever name and title. And so she grew up in that town with her dad always being like in this world, like it's like her dad is a sheriff, but he's also kind of like the top man in town. Nothing happens without the sheriff, going through the sheriff first. So that's kind of my thought for her upbringing. And then like their house is split into like a front house where they have like a living area, and then there's a kitchen, and then the kitchen like joins the jailhouse where it's like her dad's office and then these like jail cells. So she grew up like that was pretty much their full-time job, was keeping this when there were people in jail. And it was like sometimes fun for her because sometimes it would just be like drunks who were just like drying out overnight, and then sometimes it would be kind of scary. Not that there was a ton of crime necessarily in this small town, but she did kind of find a talent for caring for these, like, people would come in roughed up, or if they'd been in a fight, she would care for the people who were in there, and it kind of gave her a softness for her, for people of all backgrounds. And she also kind of found her own ways to take care of them, maybe a little bit unusual for her own, like, little homemade remedies she would do, but it was always something that she really enjoyed and found like she had like calling for that. And then as she grew up, she continued to do that, and it just kind of became something that she always just helped her dad with. He got really old, and he died. And when he did, they kind of didn't make his son like her brother. They didn't. They kind of decided that maybe we should not do that anymore, the town as a whole. So this person was put in charge who was not very nice. She just, cruel, and she had a big problem with that, and it was just like a lot of butting heads. And then they were put in a position where they had to leave because they wouldn't fall in line. And so she and her husband and their kids left, and her kids grew up, like, her kids are raised, so she's like had kids young, so she's probably like in her 50s, but her kids are like grown and out of the house, and her husband died, so she's like on her own, not really sure what to do, and the only thing that she feels like she needs to do is like take care of people. So she is kind of going out in the world and trying to find uh, people who need her in a place where she can feel like she has worth, because she thinks that her worth is caring for others.
All right. I like it. I have questions though.
Sure.
So when your father, the sheriff, died, how did he die?
Well, I didn't know if that would be something that I would know, or that I would think I know, and maybe I don't actually know as like a character. Like, she thinks that he just got old and died. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not.
Was she like I mean, how old was she?
She was like grown, so she continued to do that like well into her life. I just kind of like Queen Elizabeth is like a million. He just lived a really long life. He was well taken care of, and strong as a horse.
I'm
And
just curious how she doesn't know if she was grown when he died. Was she not around, I guess, or
no, I just mean maybe like she thinks he died of old age, but maybe something else happened that she doesn't know about in the story.
I see.
That you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If you want to take some control of that, you could. I don't want to be like, he definitely had cancer.
Sure, yeah. But as far as you know, he was like old and in bed, like at that point of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
okay.
mean, it wasn't a surprise that he died, but he was also like very much able to do his job up until, maybe he just dropped dead of a heart attack.
Okay, and so what was the name of this new sheriff that you like clashed with when they came into power?
I was thinking like Alden Howard.
Oh yeah. I
This is a
think
kid I went to high school with who wore his wear a belt buckle.
I was really envisioning when I was like starting to build this world it as like this like fantasy like Spain and Sahara kind of like meeting each other, but it's really just Texas. It's fantasy Texas.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Is what it's turned into very very quickly. Not just because of you, but because of me and everyone else too. But I'm here for it. Alden Howard is a great name. He became sheriff after your dad passed away.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they were kind of like gotten into an age where they're like, maybe it shouldn't just be the kid of the person who did it before. And it turned out to be a really bad choice.
Yeah, how did you clash with them specifically? Or what I'm really interested in is there had to be some tense moment that led to the final decision. There had to be a straw that broke the camel's back as far as we're packing up, we're leaving.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't know how much detail I should get into, or if that would like come out in role play. But so I think that he is really callous and really cruel, and there were situations where there were people who, I think that it was just like judge, jury, and executioner style. Like, he would make a decision about something and give someone the punishment that he felt was necessary. And I don't think that that was something that she felt like, it wasn't like people weren't getting justice. And she always felt like her dad was like a very fair man, and people, like, they weren't being heard. So I think there's probably a situation where like someone who like has a bright future but has just screwed up. You make a few bad decisions and suddenly like your life has taken a completely different turn. So maybe like a boy in town who's like in his 20s, and she always kind of felt like motherly toward him, but he just couldn't stay out of trouble.
Sure.
And
I like the
maybe
idea
this,
that maybe you even like, had seen him, whatever, pass out in the gutter, like helped him or brought him somewhere in past
yes, absolutely. And like
occasions.
knew his parents and like saw him, it's a small town, like saw him growing up and like knew that he was like a bright kid, but just didn't he just had a streak in him that he couldn't stay out of trouble. And so I think maybe he was I don't know, killed or, wounded in a way that left him,
Yeah,
unable to.
let's just say the dude fucking hung him.
Yeah, so sad.
What was the kid's name? You can just do a
I don't
first name
know.
even.
Let's say his name was Ugh,
Well, can we go with
I'm open to
can we
suggestions.
go with like Dylan? That sounds like a young kid who's like sweet but in trouble, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And like also from Texas.
Totally. Dill.
Cora has to leave after Alden executed Dylan, a young, troubled local.
Yeah, with a good heart, he could have been something, and she felt that strongly. Um, and I think that also they don't like. I think that the sheriff like comes to her, comes to their family, and is like, "Look, you're the next. Like, I'm the next in line. Like, showing your support of me, like, would put a lot of faith in the town, and like, what you're doing is like embarrassing me." By not supporting me, and puts her in a position where she feels like they're in danger. And so they kind of flee rather than just like, we're leaving. I think that they pack up and go like in the night kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah, for sure. Like I like that. There's a scene in my head where like she confronts this new sheriff, being like, "You cannot like go through with this thing that you're gonna do later," and he's like, "Try and stop me, because like you'll be next, and then you're just gone after that,
Sure.
or whatever the
Yes.
confrontation might have been." But great, I love that. What about your ally that you chose?
Okay, so I chose Orphelia. I feel like she's the orc princess running from her arranged marriage. I think that um, like Cora or Cora Dean, to those who are close with her, she kind of just looked for like women shelters or places like babies. She loves, like, she just feels like the babies of the world. She's put here to take care of the babies of the world, and kind of thinks that like we're all that baby that we once were when we were born perfect and innocent, and had no motives or plans for life, and then the world kind of got a hold of us and made us wicked. So she, I think, has gravitated toward like women and children centers and stuff like that. And this Orphelia came and like needed um a place to stay, and they were going to turn her away because she's an orc. Does that make sense,
Yeah,
or is that
totally.
rude?
No,
Okay.
absolutely.
And so then she like stands up for her and is like, she belongs here just as much as any of the rest of us. And then they become friends as
Awesome.
she's lended her kindness.
Love it. All right, and your other rival that you had chose.
Yeah, well, Didymus. Is it Didymus?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Didymus is the merchant police detective. I think that when she gets into town, she sees him and he reminds her of Alden. And he, just something about him is just rubs her the wrong way. She thinks that he also is not big on justice or caring about like, it's more about closing the case than it is about getting the right person.
Sure. Maybe even also about getting kickbacks or just having this comfy lifestyle, whatever that comes with his special police position.
Yeah. And I think maybe he showed like a particular unkindness to, one of the things that's often hurt children or women or young people. I think she thinks that uh, there's a lot of people who really need to be given another chance, and that this world is not kind to people who make mistakes, and like people make mistakes, and that needs to be. So I think that she kind of feels like
She's a
when
cleric.
she sees something like that happen.
She's a cleric of the mother.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, perfect. Cool. I like that a lot. And yeah, so he was like, he did something terrible or like jailed two like kids in front of you or something.
Yeah, I think so. I think it could be like where he was. I don't know what this character is going to be. Like if he is really mean, where he like lets the merchant cut off the boy's hand, or if that's I'm not sure, but I think that
Yeah.
she sees it and she finds it just absolutely appalling and thinks that he is just a big old dick. And I don't think she's quiet about it. I think that I think she's found her voice, and I don't think that she's willing to. I think that she maybe said something to him like that's not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I like that. Okay. Juicy. Let me save my notes here. All right. That's Cora. Cora, you can nominate someone else. So we have either Davis, who is. Oh, can everybody set their typing as, by the way? If you don't know how to do that, there's a little drop down under the chat window in Roll20, like where you would type into chat. If you pick your character sheet name from there, it'll change your little character icon. I think, yeah, Julie, you're the only one. And Davis, if you can change your character screen name in Roll20 for me.
I want to hear about Zuzu von Moxie.
Are we calling Zuzu Vaughn since we have two zoo people in the group? We're just going by Vaughn for like short.
I'll explain it. It's actually a lengthening of his name. It's not a shortening. But yeah.
I don't know how I
Uh,
feel about having two characters with such close names. So it's really gonna give me a problem.
I can change mine up. I didn't know that, he
Sorry.
had that name. I typed my name. I hadn't read that name yet, so I can change mine up. But um, Zuzu von Moxie. We can call him Vaughn for short if we want. Um, just to differentiate for now. But Vaughn spent his early life pressed to the sides of a cliff garden in Jardine as the son of a serf, tending to the hanging gardens of a minor lord, one Ruger Surt. His father fell when he was around 15, and he escaped weeks later into the sands of Iron after inciting a riot over a piece of shade along the cliff. He was farming during the day. Barely surviving the sun and windblown glass sand. That's one of the ways that they keep like the indentured servants and the slaves and stuff in the city is by discarding the broken glass around the outskirts of the city. So you got to basically leave by like the roads and wagon and stuff like that.
Cool. I like that.
Um,
You
he
know,
was found.
in South America, sorry to interrupt. My wife is half Venezuelan. Her mom, like when she was a kid living in Venezuela, they used to put bottles along the tops of their fences because all the like yards of the houses are fenced in. They have to be. And they would put bottles along the tops, and they'd break the bottles so the tops of their fences were like lined with broken glass, so people couldn't climb over.
Yep, yep. Very simple, very effective. Class sucks. He was found collapsed and partially buried underneath the multicolored grains by a roving band of raiders called the Felonious Set. He was inculcated in the ways of desert barbarians after being taken deep into the heart of the desert to a tiny oasis they call the Cat's Eye, resembling just that from above along the cliffs that surround it. It was ruled over by a triumvirate of treasure hunters named Yelton Isker, Daz Harton, and the youngest Sugar Velmont, who had been born and raised in the Cat's Eye. Few could ever find it, as its mirage is cast 60 feet below the desert sands. And Zuzu spent his life raiding the desert with his companions and friends who had rescued him, looking for the lost and buried, and extorting those that found themselves lost or buried. He added the Vaughn to his name because it thought it made him sound classier. Um, and he's a barbarian. Although, like, calling them, like, raiders is more like calling them, like, Indiana Jones raiders, you know? And they don't really, like, raid caravans per se. They kind of raid lost treasure.
All right.
And his goals are to find his find his fortune in the heart of the desert under his own strength and claim. Um, and he must help change the desert once he has his fortune. He's kind of a farmer at heart, although he became a barbarian. He actually loved farming. It's just the fact that he was forced to do it and um, kind of like I- I'm envisioning they force a lot of the slaves and indentured servants and serfs to stay up amongst the cliffs in the gardens and kind of dug holes in the cliff walls basically. So it's not a very glamorous or fun life, but
Um,
they are awesome gardens and whatever.
so okay, yeah. Just rewinding. I'm typing a lot. It's a lot of lore coming at me at once. So he was a hanging garden farmer in Jardine, but he did that as an indentured servant to a noble. There is what you said, right?
Yep,
What was the
yep.
noble's name again?
The name of the noble was Ruger Surt.
Okay. And what was the? How did you leave or why from Jardine again to become one of these felonious set?
He'd basically never been happy like doing what he did. He'd grown up doing it with his father, and his father fell from the gardens and died. You know, um, so he basically got in a fight and incited a riot, and within that riot, he climbed up the side of the gardens and left. Like it was just a giant riot. Like people sides of this cliff face and like just brawling, and so he in the madness of people climbing down trying to stop it and um, whatever, he kind of made his way up to the upper city and escaped. um,
Awesome.
yeah.
And then yeah, he became this raider. So for your background, your mechanical background, are you gonna go with raider or farmer slash indentured servant?
um,
Because you gotta narrow it to one or the other, even if they both are part of your
I'm
backstory.
gonna like his dream is to get a farm eventually and to like establish maybe a small farming community or something. So I think farmer is fine for his background.
Okay. Well, the way I would interpret your mechanical background, which one gave you a more broad set of skills that you really sharpened? You know, I guess.
Probably the Raider. I mean, it's what he did his growing life, like
Yeah, because the
ever since
background,
the time he was 15.
the mechanical background represents your repertoire of learned skills from working essentially.
Yeah, so it's probably the Raider. I mean, he's like 35, so he's been raiding tombs for his whole life, pretty much.
All right. Let's see. Who is your rival?
My rival is Erg. I changed this up a little. I hope it's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Erg, a desert raider, exiled from their band for betraying them over a chessboard and other miscellaneous items. But um, Zuzu still wants his chess set back. Or Vaughn, I guess. It had been Vaughn's most prized possession, found in a dangerous sunken city deep in the Doran wastes. And Erg, his former neighbor and best friend, had stolen and sold it in Sarkhan out of spite after a particularly brutal losing streak, along with many other pilfered items from different members of the Felonious set. Made of transparent colored blue and yellow crystal, the board and pieces reflect light in a spectacular way, and Erg has been seen with the Gulhag Gang, or the Gulag Gang, um, who are known for making ghoul powder.
All right. So let's see. All right. And your ally?
My ally is Olaf, a grizzled teamster for hire with a custom crossbow. Um, Olaf has had many a run-in with the felonious set over the years, all of them positive and mutually beneficial, and Zuzu immediately grew to like his straightforward and down-to-earth attitude. They both share the dream of owning their own farm, although Olaf thinks Zuzu is crazy for wanting to climb back down the cliffs for his, and Zuzu thinks Olaf is daft for putting in his honest labor to try for his, so um, kind of Zuzu believes in luck and finding his fortune in the desert and not really like signing up for jobs and, you know, doing the 9 to 5 thing.
All right. Let me just, sorry, finish up typing here. Okay. And that leaves us to Dante last.
Yep.
By the way, thanks everyone for waiting while I hash this out with each person, but I think it also helps everyone get to know each other too, so.
No, it's great.
All right.
All right. Dante, you are a bard.
Yes, he is. Separated from his low-born family as a child. Didn't get to really experience a normal childhood. Seems to have been taken by a man who said he's a lamp keeper, but as a kid, you don't really understand what that fully entails. But his ally, Lorindel, helped him escape, so he kind of sees her as a foster mother now.
So
But,
you were
growing
raised
up,
in the cult of the Night Lantern too? Or no?
well, he was gonna be until because Lorindel is an ex-cultist posing as a bar wench. So I played it as Lorindel kind of grabbed Dante and fled, saving him from the Night Lantern.
I see.
But growing up on the street still with your foster mother acting as a bar wench and both of you in hiding isn't an easy life. But Dante kind of took to music and gab and started growing his skills as a bard until they ran away to the Ark City. But eventually the streets of Sarkin have kind of sang to Dante and he's made his way back to Sarkin.
All right. Like everyone says it differently so far. I'm not going to correct anybody.
It's Texas, y'all.
Sarkhan, the city with 1,000 names,
I think it's
and
Sarkan.
none of them are actually correct.
Julie, are you from Southern Illinois as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we say
What,
it the same.
Yeah, what, you
Sarkan.
want to go to Green, Texas? Yeah, how do you spell that, idiot? Stupid.
Green, Texas.
Yeah, Grune, Green,
That's
Texas.
It's pretty close to the German word for green. Green.
Vienna.
I always
Illinois.
just go with
Arkansas,
Waco.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Vienna is a classic. Also, near where I'm from in Carlinville, Andy, there's one that's called Fidelity, but it's just spelled Fidelity.
Well, I've seen Fidelity. I didn't know if people called it Fidel.
Oh yeah, dude. Everybody, it's if you live around there, it's Fidelity. Also, there's like 50 people in that town, and every single one of them is a fantastic meth cook. Chef's kiss.
Ah, nice.
It's a local delicacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll drive like at least an hour to get down there for sure.
Just itching the whole way.
All right. What was the name of this lamp keeper?
I didn't come up with one because I figured child doesn't really want to get to know his captor.
Sure.
But I think it's more of like he would have recognized him if he saw him thing
Mm-hmm.
from the trauma. But
I like to imagine this dude isn't completely. He didn't give up immediately. You know, he was around, and you guys were evading him for quite a while.
Okay. Let's see. let's go with. I'm trying to find a good generator.
You could have one of those things that's like just a description of what he thought of him, like the man with the yellow hat.
Yeah, that
You
could
can
be it.
instead of like a name.
I don't know what the lamp keeper outfit looks like though.
Well, they carry a lamp.
The man
Or
with
maybe
the
he
lamp, you
smelled
just
like
call him
something.
that. Let's say.
Well, that could be a lot of different lamp
Uh,
keepers.
exactly. So
Let's just
maybe his name was Thorburn. Thorburn.
okay, down with that. Lamp keeper Thorburn.
Or Thorvin, either one.
That's a really good
It
joke.
would make sense in this climate too.
All right. The ally that you chose was Lyrindil, right?
Yes. Ex-cultist posing as a bar wench to hide from the lamp keeper. Ugh.
And she took you in kind of as a foster child,
Yeah.
essentially.
The elusive man. The smoking man. The man in the yellow hat.
Okay. And then what was the rival that you chose?
Meow, which is the weirdest cat sound I've ever had to make.
What is it?
Meow is what you put on there. A guildie in the merchant
I
police
think
who
it's just
isn't
I think it's
above.
just Miro.
Oh, maybe I added that W. Yeah.
I think there is a W, but the ROW is just row in this. That's how I pictured it. Miro.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, so he's a merchant police in the merchant police who isn't above taking bribes, but for some reason his dislike for Dante makes it to where he doesn't want to take Dante's coin. But it could just be because he hates Dante's silver tongue.
Like what happened there to cause that hatred?
My guess is that Dante's kind of a street urchin, so he probably goes around telling stories and potentially trying to fabricate those stories. And so he's fabricated some silly stories about Miro. He's made a few bucks off of it. He's kind of downplayed his authority a lot, and so the people have kind of gone into not listening to his authority as well. And so for that, he's like got a big disdain for Dante.
All right. All right, cool. That's our party. Exciting.
Hey, Charlie.
Yes.
Um, what did you have for the mechanical background for
That's
my character?
I was gonna go back and ask yours because I realized I forgot. I
Yeah,
didn't type
I
in.
want to use that mechanic. I think that's so cool, but
I was gonna ask, you could go with a couple things. I mean, it could even be like sheriff's daughter, but local healer is also one that you could kind of choose. I mean, you can phrase it however you want, or sum it up to kind of get the exact details. But
yeah, I just wonder which would be more beneficial to be able to come up with. I almost feel like growing up as the sheriff's daughter would probably have more.
yeah, grew up in a jailhouse would be your background,
Yes.
which is interesting. Cool. All right. So now that we did that with everybody, again, thanks everyone for waiting and listening. We can jump into the game proper, but first, let's take like a 5.
Oh.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, be right back. y'all.
Okie dokie.
back.
Same here. Although I will run off again here in a second.
I've got to figure out how to do these little tokens on the map with the description when you hover it.
I don't know on that one. I know how to put the tokens on the map, but I don't know how to drop the covering description.
Yeah, I don't either. I tried so hard. Like I have the Adobe Creative Cloud and I was like I was downloading like XD to do this for the little town that my players just got to. And I should have just prepped instead, but I wanted so badly to have it where they could hover over and it would say like what the little village, like what each building was. And then when I logged onto this, I was like, God damn it, I could have done it in Roll20 this whole time.
Well, we'll be waiting for that
The
technological
exciting
innovation.
conclusion.
I can't be immersed in the world unless I mouse over.
I know. I mean, it's not going to happen now. I'm not going to do it now.
Is it gonna be a situation where we're like all of a sudden it's like now you guys are in Tridia, a new Dave to start
Right.
stealing the maps from Charlie.
Yes.
Trying to figure out my song list for my spell.
We were talking about Cedric's magic word last night. I was talking to Julie and I was like, I want to have a magic word, like I want to channel the feeling I had whenever, I first used magic. And so the only thing we came up with is "Don't eat my grandson" was my magic word.
Yeah, my suggestion was Wimmy Wham Wham Wazzle.
Do like Wibby Wham Wham Wazzle.
It's Slurms McKenzie.
In our last campaign, we had a guy who, the first time Charlie said, like, describe how your spell looks and what do? He was just like frozen. He's like, and it became this very Master Roshi kind of voice where he was just like, and he just kept doing it every time his character. And then it was a complete accident, but it became his character's thing. He was just this old Master Roshi like a guy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a blast with it. Then at the end, he basically became the bad guy.
That was
We were
Pasha,
like-
right?
Yeah,
That old
Pasha.
bastard.
he became. He basically got a stone that turned him into like a demigod, but then he just decided to throw it into a ravine and walk away from it all. And it was the weirdest climax to a game. Like,
Well, hold up. From what I remember, he decided to do that because he consulted the rest of the party and was like,
yeah,
you know what? These guys have influenced me to make the right choice.
I mean, it was kind of perfect because like our entire campaign was rolling around this idea of like we were all chasing power, but none of us in the end were anywhere near getting power. And then he got it, and his whole character arc from day one when he joined was like he was trying to become a stronger wizard, and he finally got it. And he just kind of goes, "Hey guys, if you had like infinite power, what would you do with it?" And all of our stories had been these people that kept getting infinite power, and we finally just were like, honestly, I'm too tired. If we all just kind of agreed on that, and then he was like, "Okay, so when no one's looking, I just throw the stone in the ravine," and we were like, "Wait, what?" Like we thought we were gonna have to like fight him. Nope, he just threw it away.
Oh man, what if the junk trader in this town somehow found that one stone in the ravine?
Oh,
I love
God.
that.
Somehow, from the far north, managed to get that stone from there down to Tridia. I don't know how
This-
that works, but
Is this
Depending
the
on how the
Philosopher's Stone?
river maps,
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
the Starfall, or
Depending
they
on how
or in
those
Tridia they call it the
rivers
Philosopher's
work,
Stone.
it could
Yeah.
be possible, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, our two groups went in it's incredible how different our directions went for the past two campaigns.
Yeah, we've had pretty much the same group. We did one session was our first one. playing since I was a kid. And then we did like a summer one-shot series, like a multi-shot, where we had like 3 gaming days. People came over and like played through like a 3-session deal. And now we're back in a new, completely different campaign. It has been really interesting, the way it's gone so far.
But all in the same world and timeline, so it's fun little Easter eggs of like, adding in stuff from the previous games.
Mm.
And we co-GM'd our the summer one-shot series, me and Julie. So like for I don't know, 5 months, every phone call started with, "Okay, so what if?"
Oh my gosh, it was the best.
That sounds awesome.
Some of our like most fun, like some of the stuff we would come up with, it would be like so entertaining and so enjoyable, but it was like, is this like so fun and good because like we're idiots and we've been talking about it for an hour and like we're so in it, or is it actually good? Like is it going to be funny to everyone or is it just because we're idiots? It was mostly the idiot one.
I love those
The
moments.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I just love the like we had a place called Ravenmore that was like a swampy, rednecky town, and our role play got at it. We could really embrace that Southern Illinois culture, and we definitely did.
Yeah, it was the Andy and Julie show for sure there for a minute in Ravenmore.
This is my holler. Get on out of here.
I'm gonna try really hard not to play Cora Dean like that. Like, she's not an awful Southern style woman. But I did say that I said that her family might have invented ranch dressing. So I'm trying. That might be one of my story goals.
Delicious.
I gotta go back in a second and get my pizza rolls. Sorry, y'all. My
Nice.
pizza rolls. And oh damn it, I went in there to get my computer glasses and I left them. Speaking of goals, I'm not gonna have you write goals quite yet. We usually do it right at the beginning of the session, but I'm gonna give us, of course, a little introduction first. And then we'll worry about
Sweet.
it. We may not do it even until next session, but we'll see.
Like avoid combat at all cost is currently my goal.
It's a good
All
one.
right, I'm back.
Right on. I'm gonna have to go get my pizza rolls in a second, but before we do that, we can talk about Sarkhan for a moment if everyone is back. I think they are.
You know me, I love being present at things.
Oh yeah. So, and you're good at it too. When you're somewhere, you're really there, man.
Yeah, you're right. No one does it better than me.
Sarkhan is this massive city you see laid out before you. I didn't fill out all of the little like neighborhood names yet. We can kind of fill some of them out as we go. Same with there's extra numbers if we add more map points. But Sarkhan, what makes it interesting is it is a river city. It's also an oasis city, so it's in a nice little patch of green in the desert here, and where a little oasis river trickles out and tributes into the larger Lyran River that it sits on, which makes this weird little island complex type of thing here. It's also a city that's owned by the prince. It's run by his viceroy, which is essentially just a fancy noble position for, like someone to step in and rule for you when they're not actually a noble. They don't actually own this fief. He's just a stand-in for the prince, so the prince can't rule it, technically. Which is why his home is called the Embassy District, up here on the northern end. The really interesting thing about the town, though, is the large tower in the center, the Tower Gate. They call it the Tower Gate because in this world, as you guys may know, there are lots of portals that can travel you along these ley lines. And the Order of Sahir recently opened up one of these portals here. They discovered a new ley line, or rather started using a ley line that wasn't being used. If you go back to this map down here, these red thin lines are ley lines. The reason they weren't being used before is because they don't sit on the face of the planet like the other ones do. These are like really high in the air, kind of running in the sky around the planet as well. So to access them, you have to get really high off the ground, right? Which is why the endless staircase is like a little portal nexus here. But in Sarkanway over here, they had this old tower, and that was what its original use was. And this like order of sorcerers, the Order of Sahir, recently, I don't know, maybe in the last 10 years, like figured out how to reactivate the portals and basically act as like lords over these portals, because they're super useful to people who are doing trade, long distance travel, diplomacy, etc., even just communication, sending messages. So they lord over that, tax it, make money on it with the permission of the viceroy. That's kind of one of the major things going on in the city, I would say. And of course, it's at the very center of the city. And you have to climb all the way up to use the portal. Let's see, what else is interesting? Yeah, this is where we'll find you all. Over here in the like western, really technically northwestern part of the city. The Chained Towers is the home to all gladiators that are members of the gladiator company you're in, which I believe is called the Salazar Slave Trade. Yeah, Salazar Slave Company. And yeah, so they own these weird structures, these ancient old towers with this huge, massive chain running between them, almost as if like some behemoth, had put them there in a previous age. And they are, actual buildings, and you live and train in them. And the popular type of gladiation here is river gladiation. So they call this whole bay right here the River Coliseum. People pull boats up around. They have kind of like bleachers and lookouts on the shores here, as you can see. And they do battle reenactments. They do shows, all kinds of stuff. But mostly with, small boats and like kind of naval battle and things like that. Let's see, anything else worth mentioning? I mean, there's other cool stuff, but that's kind of what's important to our story. When we find you in the Chained Towers as either prisoners or maybe voluntary gladiators, but you're essentially a prisoner once you enter that life. You are an indentured servant to the Salazar Company. And Lord Jericho, who is the man who owns you, technically, or your contract. I don't have an NPC picture for him yet, but I will.
This isn't the same Jericho that we've already met, right?
No, I think it's just a common name in this world.
We're all imagining the wrestler, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Walls of Jericho. He's going to put you in it.
I'm imagining the superhero.
I'm thinking of the hit drama from NBC 15
Oh,
years.
aren't we all?
So think for a moment about how each of you ended up in the indentured servitude under this basically slave contract that you have to either work off or die to get out of. And how you ended up a gladiator in the tower. Before you answer, though, think about it for 30 seconds. Save that breath. I'm going to grab my pizza rolls, and then we can talk about it.
Very important to get those pizza rolls.
Those make me pretty hungry for pizza rolls.
I know I'm hungry for pizza. Like, I've got pizza in my fridge, but pizza rolls? Baby, let me get those little ovens in my mouth and burn them immediately on the first bite.
That's my problem with pizza rolls, man. Like
I'm
never.
like a sucker for a bagel bite.
Yeah, but they're just.
Pizza?
I always burn the shit out of my mouth.
I imagine bagel bites are not nearly as dangerous as pizza bites because they don't have the pocket of heat inside.
The lava.
Eh,
The
you'd be
lava.
surprised.
The
They can
magma.
still get you.
Oh, I'm sure they can still get
They
you,
still
but
get
like,
me. They still get me.
The problem with bagel bites is I was always served them with siblings, so if you were waiting till they got cool to eat them, you were fucking up.
Exactly.
Like,
That was
Mhm.
true
time.
for any
Yeah.
food, and you were never waiting. So, like, don't even act like it was a problem.
Oh my gosh, I forgot you were in here. I forgot you were in here.
Oh man, I don't know. Something about that really tickled me. It's like usually when you tell those stories, it's because one of the involved parties is not there to, deliver a rebuttal. Oh, that's
so funny.
delightful.
That is so funny.
Yeah, there will be more of that. Don't worry.
You get a real biased like delivery of the story. Except now there's someone here to like to
Yeah.
to keep you in check.
She's like, cool. I never got bagel bites. I love that story.
Yeah, remind me again about how much you ate. I could go on and on. Andy also, like, he's the oldest and I'm the youngest, so we're 4 years
Oh my
apart.
god.
But doesn't it make you feel good about how big and strong I got? I mean, looking back, aren't you like, man, I'm glad he just gorged himself for our entire childhood.
Yeah, especially since food was so available to us.
So hungry. Mom would intentionally buy bad food, so we would eat it slower.
Yeah. Oh my God, we never got anything good.
Yeah, you had to, if you liked it too much, like you like that too much. Here, I got these little spicy fruit drinks that would burn your throat when you drink them.
Sorry, what?
Spicy fruit drink.
Spicy fruit drinks?
It's like the cheapest thing at IGA, like on the floor.
Oh,
And it's
right, yeah.
I'm
Like
back.
barrel drinks or quarter drinks.
That is actually a perfect.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
juice, but they don't taste like anything. They just taste
bottom
like
barrel fruit drink.
Yeah.
It's spicy.
They taste like an ichor, or perhaps
Yeah.
a potion.
It's just corn
So
syrup.
fucking
it
good.
tastes like
Yeah.
the color it is.
Yeah, it was either that or like really horribly artificially sweetened water that was like fruit 2.0.
Oh yeah.
Like that was just like really bad, tasted like aspartame and like fake
Oh.
strawberry.
I can't drink water unless it's got some kind of sugar in it.
It is nature's candy, literally.
I thought you meant water for a
Raisins.
minute.
Water, good old delicious.
Water is nature's candy.
All
That's
right,
why everyone loves to drink it.
everybody ready to jump in?
Yes.
Yup.
So,
Ooh,
we find you in these massive stone towers. They're very strange, kind of almost brutalist architecture. Everything is just smooth, dark stone with, very squared, hard lines, not really much decoration carved into anything, just kind of big plain stone panel that makes up this giant, almost obsidian black tower. And there are a few tiny little windows here and there, but they're mainly like, crenellations, like for an archer to shoot out of. So you just get little glimpses of the outside. It's pretty dark inside and dreary. And you each probably have a cell to yourself in here. It's, very small, and they give you, maybe a few blankets and stuff, and they feed you. But you mostly just work and train and go back to your cell. They have a few other things. They have like religious services and books available sometimes. It's pretty much like being in prison, except you also are a boxer, learn to fight all the time.
I kind of see Cedric as like talking to a guard and being like, "Excuse me, I think there's been some mistake. I was assured I'd be sold into slavery."
Shut up, old man. He just like hits the cage, right in front of you.
Oh, good gracious.
Everybody fights.
I think he just kind of looks at his arms back and forth and he's like, "Oh, Cedric, what have you gotten yourself into?"
So, how did Cedric end up here? Exactly.
I think Cedric ended up here because he was doing some research, as he's been doing, like looking at these magical artifacts, and found something in the desert. And he asked Askir about it. She's like, "Do not go over there. Like that's private property. You do not belong there."
Ooh.
And he was like, "Well, in the pursuit of science, I feel I'm not hurting anything. I'm just looking. And so he went anyway. And when you're on that guy's land, like you're his property, like
All right.
that's somebody he does all the time is human trafficking, and that's
It was
he was just like load him up.
it was the forest of Lord Jericho, quote unquote forest.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, you're on my land, you're mine, and he does, he's in this business, so
Take him to the tower.
couple silver for a 70-year-old man is better than nothing.
All right. Interesting. Oh, another thing I should mention maybe about the city, because this may play into how you ended up in here. I'd say the main things really going on in the city right now are basically kind of a war of thieves guilds. There is an incredibly powerful like thieves guild here. Everyone knows about it. Everyone knows they control a lot of the politics and a lot of the mercantilism, called the Sisterhood of Serpent, or just the Serpents. But then there's also the Black Candle Guild, which is a thieves guild that is pretty much everywhere, in every city. They're always a problem. Each sect is kind of its own sect from city to city. But there have been bombings. The Black Candle Guild likes bombs and black powder. There's been assassinations. And on top of that, then there are the Scrutians as well. The Scrutians are the junk traders who think that there's a god king in the desert with a philosopher's stone. Those are the people who are like, on this big pilgrimage out into the desert to try and find it. They call themselves that because the fabled city is called Scruta, which is their word for golden junk. Those are kind of the big conflicts going on in the city currently. So the Thieves Guild might be something, a reason to be wrapped up in.
Is it possible that Cora could be there? Like, is this something that maybe Didymus had something to do with?
Hold on one sec. Where'd my little notes go? I gotta reread my blurb on Didymus. One sec.
He's just a detective that's seen too much.
Yeah.
Merchant police.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely an active figure in the city, and the merchant police are incredibly corrupt, and definitely look the other way, especially when it comes to the sisterhood. So
I just wonder if, like, when she was like standing up to him or something like that,
oh yeah, that could be.
He's just like, okay, like I'm done. Like it's happened too many times. Like first when she came to town, she saw it, and then like she kind of made a point to like keep an eye on him a little bit, and she got to be a nuisance to him, so he somehow made it so that she would be sent to the towers.
Yeah, I mean, was it literally just like a hood over the head and like on a street at night, and then you woke up in a tower?
I think she was probably tricked. I think that he probably like, I don't know. I see him as like trying to cover his tracks, in a way that maybe she was tricked into going somewhere to like help someone, and it was actually she was taken there. Like, why are we going this way?
I see. Very interesting. Anyone else?
I think Dante is here because, as he would tell you, it was just one apple. He only stole one apple. That's it. Never mind all the gold and spices and herbs that he had stashed behind his or under his coat. It was just one apple.
Well,
And I think Miro found him.
okay, that might make more sense. I was going to say, keep in mind, this actually is not the prison of the town. This isn't like the punishment you get for being incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
This is just legal slavery, essentially, or legal indentured servitude. But, if your rival's involved, maybe they fix something up where, kind of similar to Korra.
Is there a way out of this life?
Win.
Win
enough battles?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And they do like different like sometimes they offer it, just to give extra motivation, etc. for the bigger shows. The winners can win their freedom. Some people choose to stay in. There's some people who are here by choice or keep re-signing their contract on purpose because they like win and they like it. Mm-hmm. But that's a rare breed.
I think Even
I'd
though
imagine
the
there's some celebrities among them or whatever, you know? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a shitty life, but they're known.
so I think even though Miro might have sent Dante here, he feels like there's probably some other involvement because it wouldn't make sense for one merchant police officer to be able to get Dante stuck here. But as far as he knows, that's the only culprit he has.
I mean, these people pay good money for this too. I'm sure they're working with Thieves Guild, you know, probably Serpent members or Black Candle members. Who knows which one they're affiliated with? And they buy trafficked people and kidnapped people, etc., and force them into contracts under duress, or when they're knocked out and they wake up and they've already signed a contract, quote unquote, with their thumbprint on it or whatever it might be.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was playing into. Was if you want to take this into, since I was caught stealing, the Thieves Guild's not happy about that since it's not under their jurisdiction.
Interesting.
I like the idea of both of our characters having an issue with the merchant police. Like, that's how they got here.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of that, okay, is there anyone we haven't gone over as to why they're here?
Yeah.
Zuzu and
Zuzu.
Zaretti, I believe.
I'll speak up here. So I'm thinking I like punched a priest in the face because I'm trying to track down that chess set, and I felt like he knew or bought it and gave it to somebody else or something, that it moved through his hands, even though it might not have. It probably didn't. But I punched him in the face and basically uh, knew some people and got me absconded, got me interred in this place.
Okay. So same thing. Was it like he had people just like thugs kind of knock you out, kidnap you kind of thing? A lot of people I think also, you know, sign these contracts under like duress and in that like they threaten your family, or you know, they give you, you know, no other options kind of thing, or maybe you run out of options so you come to them too. So keep in mind those are all options as well. But so in this case, were you like kidnapped, knocked out, tricked, uh, you know, blackmailed?
I think it was more, yeah, I think it was be blackmail. Um, like I did this in the middle of the daylight in front of a bunch of people. Just punched this priest in the face. You know, like probably broke his jaw or something, you know, did something, and
Okay, yeah. Let's say that actually maybe he showed up with Captain Miro later that day.
there you go.
Eh,
And yeah, I feel like it was either like pay a bunch of money that I didn't have, or be on the bad side of this temple, whether it's for the cat god or whatever. Um, maybe even this priest is like a serpent member that I don't know about. You know what I mean? Like bunch of connections. It's a shady priest. Whatever. But just kind of like jumped into a pot of boiling water looking for this stupid chess set.
All right. Yeah, the priest was probably. Let's see here. Where's my little Sarkhan note? Got too many notes open right now.
Can I ask a question of the other players? I know Andy's character is old. My character is like 59-ish. How old are your characters? I'm sorry if I missed that.
Zuzu's like mid-30s, 35.
Okay.
Yeah, Dante's like late 20s, probably about 28 if I had to put an actual number on it.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Zuzu
back. What I
looks
missed?
like he's probably 40. He's just like sunburnt and whatever. White dude in the desert.
I was asking how old everybody's character is.
Zaretti is like late 40s. He's got some years on him.
Cool.
Nice.
Cora's like 59, 60. She's like a young grandma.
The priest is probably Cyrano of the Dead Keeper.
There you go. Perfect. Punch Cyrano right in his face.
Very connected with the merchant police. Okay, great. Yeah, so he was basically, they probably showed up and they're like, you sign this contract, we're going to take 10% of the commission on your contract for selling you into indentured servitude, or you can go to fucking prison right now, and we'll
Exactly.
cut your hands off.
Exactly.
Zaretti.
Yeah, is ready our last one?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sure. Chances are I got pulled in here because of a very similar situation to what just happened there. I was given a choice by the police, and I chose this because I think Asger really fucked me over. She finally got the one up on me.
I don't
I
think she
took a
would.
job that
I don't think she would call the police though.
no. She set me up with I took a job that sounded real good, but it was something she set up that would absolutely land me in a spot of trouble just because I'd be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
What was the job?
That's a good question. I don't know what the job was.
Yeah, you don't have to know right
It's-
now. You can think on it.
I think it would be something like transporting illicit goods. The job would be bodyguard for a trader moving their merchandise. I then but it would be I don't know what's a good illegal substance in this world.
Well, so pretty much all the drugs are legal here, except for the ones that involve necromancy. So ghoul powder, because that involves harvesting flowers from, black oleander trees and from ghouls. And the other one is called Aether Smoke, or as they sometimes call it, Stone Lotus, and that's made from Nazarite. That's illegal for because they want to control Nazarite.
Yeah, I'm feeling like this is some ghoul powder, not ghoul powder stuff.
Okay. By the way, Andy and Julie don't know this because you guys haven't played in this world before, but Nazarite is like a magic, kind of crystal or material. It's what powers the portals. They need like huge heaps of it to keep the portals running. So very valuable. But it also, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, is it also a narcotic?
There is a way to synthesize a narcotic from it that is rare but more popular around here in the desert and stuff. Yeah, it's called Aether Smoke, or sometimes called Stone Lotus. It's like crystals that you smoke.
Like crack.
Mm-hmm. So those are only like the kind of only two drugs that are really illegal. The rest are pretty much all legal, for entertainment's sake, and sale and tax, etc.
Yeah, so I took a job from someone that was saying they're transporting some medicinal goods, and it turns out the quote unquote medicinal goods was highly illegal within this area. Guards were tipped off one way or another, and I wound up taking the heat. So I decided to I would much rather take my chances in the Coliseum rather than in fucking jail.
All right.
And also, I don't know it's Isgir, but I know it's her. Absolutely.
Cool.
Nothing connecting it to her, but I know.
So we find all of you in the towers on a bleak day of training after you've probably been here a couple days each. You've seen each other around, no doubt, at this point. And one day after pretty rigorous morning training of just like probably rowing boats in place, just practicing rowing and as a team, etc. You're absolutely exhausted, but they take you into like a big kind of dining hall on one of the lower floors. It's just bleak, low ceiling. It's just essentially like slab concrete room, that's big and long like a cafeteria, but with a very low ceiling and only basically torchlight to light the room. It's pretty dreary, but they have some kind of, some delicious looking slops that they feed you on dented metal trays. And they do let you kind of sit amongst yourselves and talk at this point. This is kind of the only real interaction point you guys get. But you're also with, 3 or 4 other prisoners who are training to be gladiators as well. Most of them look fairly unfriendly. I think the one that stands out the most is a gnoll. One of them is like this hideous hyena man. Gnolls are very, very looked down upon, are not civilized, generally speaking, except for like in 1 or 2 places near Elmard up north. So we find you at the lunch tables. You're finally able to speak to each other for the first time. What do you do?
And the upcoming event is like a kind of a canoe battle.
No, I mean they build little like versions of sailing ships, and you sail on like 8-man teams. You have cannons, all kinds of stuff. It's like a full-on naval battle with smaller scale boats. By the way,
Yeah.
this is based on a real thing. They used to flood the Colosseum up to like 6 feet deep and have fucking naval battles in it, which is insane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyway,
Do we know? Do we know that we are going to be paired up with each other for this?
You're-
What's coming
you
next?
do not know. You know that you're going to be teamed up, but you do not know with who. So you know some of these people are going to be people you might have to kill in like a week's time. The one thing you probably know about the upcoming battle is it's a reenactment of a famous historical battle against a necromancer and his brigade called the Bone Legion, like thousands of years ago. Those are the bad guys. Those are the ones who are supposed to die. So you don't want to be the Bone Legion.
All right. If any of y'all can cast magic at this table, why don't you go ahead and raise y'all hands?
One of
Well, that seems like a peculiar question.
Well, I'm just saying, if you can cast magic, chances are you're going to be on the wrong side of the battle and you're going to die. And I just want to make sure I don't make any connections with soon to be expired folk.
Cedric does not raise his hand.
Yeah, see, Dante hasn't either. He's just
a kind of husky looking woman with like a kind of spiky haircut at the end of the table like leans over and she's like, "What if I can cast spells? What does that mean to you?"
It just means that you're going to be on a sunk ship in a week's time.
She's like, no, that's not true. General Sisyphus, he had sorcerers too. Both sides
Yeah.
gonna have wizards.
All right, whatever you say. It still means that you're going to be thrown off the boat, though.
I'm sorry, did you say there was a week of this remaining? Oh, I
I
don't
think
think
that's
lack
what
of
you said.
practice is what's stopping my rowing ability, to be quite frank.
Yeah, I think you're shit out of luck, old man. You didn't do arm day, did you?
hey, come on, leave him alone. You never know. He might be able to do something.
Yeah, how much can you bench press, old man?
I don't have access to that sort of specialized equipment, but I certainly can carry a large stack of books to and from my house. I have been lifting
wow.
soup cans in my house as well, so I do a little.
Okay, so you're a bookworm.
Hey, look, there's got to be a lot of wisdom behind those eyes. I mean, look at him. He's like 100. But still.
I'm thinking senility, but I mean, you do you.
Oh yes, very good. Yes, very good. Senility. Yes.
The Knoll leans over and just like chomps whatever food is on Cedric's plate. Like the tray just slatters off onto the floor and food kind of flies everywhere. And he just like bites ravenously and looks at you with crazy eyes.
Did you tell us the Knoll's name?
He doesn't have a name that you know of. They just call him the Knoll.
Hey, Knoll, cut that shit out. We all need to eat if we're going to get through this.
He just gives you that dumb hyena look with like the tongue sticking out the side of his mouth.
Cora would like take her plate and like pass it, you know what I mean, like slide her tray down to Cedric and just be like, I'm not gonna eat mine. You can go ahead and have it. You know, we fed the prisoners good where I'm from. We didn't gotta keep them healthy and strong so they can make good choices.
Thank you, young lady. You're so thoughtful of you. But let's split it.
Wait, isn't she like 10 years younger than you?
She loves it. No, she loves it for sure.
That was great. Please continue.
Yeah, she loves that you called her young lady, and she's just like, well, sometimes the only thing that comes between a man making a good decision and a bad decision is just having a good meal, and they're not doing right by anybody in here by feeding you this.
Wise words, yes, wise words. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. I'm Cedric, by the way.
Oh, I'm Coradine Finstock. You can call me Coradine.
And I'm Kesna. And don't you two be getting too friendly, because some of us might be killing each other by the end of the week. The big lady at the end of the table chimes in.
I won't be killing anyone. I mean, I'll do my best, but let's be honest. I can be friends with everyone at this point. Don't worry. I think Cedric would kind of look to the person next to him. Maybe even Zaretti, even though. And you, sir, I didn't catch your name.
Was that directed at Zaretti or the
Zaretti.
person next to you?
Zaretti
Okay.
is the person next to him, I suppose.
Oh, okay then. Zaretti Marco. I'm like not making eye contact. Like I've got a plate of food in front of me. I'm just picking at that. I'm sorry. Were you expecting anything else? That's my name. That's it.
As much as you want to share, a pleasure to meet you, Cedric
Yeah.
Avatar.
This one's a
Yeah,
friendly one,
right.
isn't he?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Cedric. I said this one's a friendly one, isn't he? This Zaretti fella.
I'm as friendly as I need to be, and maybe you should learn a little bit from my example.
Kesna's like, yeah, because he's smart. And then she just like slams some more food into her face.
Ah, shut up, Kesna.
Wait,
You're just lucky you've survived this long.
Sorry, did you just like slam it into her face, not even to her mouth?
She just recklessly jams cornbread into her mouth area and keeps chewing.
That's when I found out I had an eating problem.
Sorry, that's Kesna. She's kind of
With her?
a name around here.
I'm not with her.
No, I didn't think you were. Kesna's, God, she's been here longer than I have. Dante, by the way. Pleasure to make all y'all's acquaintances, I suppose, even though it might be short-lived.
It may work out, right? Someone has to win. Maybe I can put on a team full of talent.
Team doesn't matter. You're with the bone. If you're with the Bone Squad, you're fucking dead. Just hope that you're on the right side of this mock you battle bullshit.
Oh, thank you. So do I. And I didn't catch your name. I did catch that you don't like magic. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I already said my name once. If you missed it, that's your issue.
Remember, his name was Zaretti. You might be right. He might be senile.
Oh, I was thinking. Sorry. There's
Zuzu.
Z's got me.
Yeah.
It's a fucking. You know what? You know what? I can make this easier. I can just change the name to Reddy, if need be.
Ret? He looks
Red
like a.
Jello.
We'll give you a nick.
He looks like a ret.
Look, we'll give you a nickname eventually.
Okay, how about this? Name's ready to my friends, and none of you are my friends.
Well, then that doesn't really change the problem.
Yeah,
with
it doesn't really
disease.
help, does it, huh?
Hey, Blondie, down there. You're kind of quiet. What's your name?
Zuzu.
Well, goddamn, that's gonna be annoying, isn't it?
You can call me Vaughn.
I mean, I'm honestly not going to remember half these names because some of you are going to die. Hell, I might even die.
I'm not gonna remember any of her names.
So
Have y'all done this before?
Familiar with the practice, never actually done it myself.
Are we allowed to be on a team like Cedric said? I mean, you said you carry soup?
Well, it's a way of exercising when you don't have other weights. A jar of soup in each hand and lift it. It keeps you in calisthenics, keeps you in shape.
But yes, I could hold my own, I think, to some degree. I think the way to get around this game is to outsmart them. They expect us to all kill each other. Well, that's ridiculous. Doesn't anyone ever get out alive? Is there ever a situation where both teams are released on merit?
Cedric. You have an awfully optimistic outlook on you, fella.
Cedric, I'll give you one piece of advice. Stay out of my way. Understand me, old man?
And I'll give you another piece of advice. Stay out of my way.
And I'll give you another piece of advice.
Whatever your name is, ready.
Okay.
Both of you giving him the same advice.
Kesna's like,
Yeah.
listen to me, y'all. I'll watch out for me. And she just picks up her tray and storms away.
It starts slamming it into her face.
I guess she's out.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay out of her way because I think she's going to sink her own boat.
To be clear, that was two stay out of my ways and leave me alone, correct?
Yeah.
Have you eaten that food that nice lady gave to you yet, old man?
Oh, yes, well, I almost forgot.
You got a hyena man sitting right next to you.
He's just like licking
Just
his
ate
tray.
the last plate.
Cedric
Let's
looks at the
stop all
hyena.
that
Like,
yapping and get to
Sorry.
eating, old man.
Yeah,
he kind of looks at the hyena.
Yeah,
He's
we
like,
should
"Hello?"
fuel up.
the Knoll just looks at you with like the tray in his teeth like a frisbee.
Oh, good gracious.
I think he wants you to throw it.
Yeah, Grandpa, throw it.
He like spits it out and then he just starts like rattling off something in a weird kind of growly language you don't understand. He's just like, wow, I gotta do it, I gotta, and he just stands up and leaves.
He's out.
Don't worry about him.
So
Kind of hard to work as a team with someone you can't understand.
as they leave, I think you all notice that the guards kind of open the big iron slatted door at the far end of this, concrete box of a room that you're in. And a guard comes in with two like new kind of prisoners you haven't seen around the complex yet. And they both look super young. One is like maybe 16 and the other is like maybe 13. They're definitely, brothers. You can just tell by looking at them. And the youngest one's like basically just a little kid. And the guards kind of drag him in and he laughs and he's like, new meat, this like scarred faced guard with, kind of a really stubbly kind of fat chin. And he just drags these kids in and kind of tosses them on the ground and he slides the iron bar shut behind him and he goes, go get some grub. And the younger kid just starts kind of like quietly sobbing in a pile on the floor while the older kid is like kind of whispering to him, trying to coax him up to, go like towards the food line. And the guard is like, get off the floor before I do it for you. Like screaming at him.
Can one of these boys be one of the boys that Cora saw, like, Didymus be, like, mean to?
I'm going to say no in this case, just because there's things you already don't know about them.
The boys?
About these boys in particular, yes, that I think would exclude them from being those particular people. Maybe, I don't know. I'm going to say no, though. You don't recognize them.
Well, she's obviously, like, wants to, like, go, like, she's just, like, says to him, like, well, they're babies. They're babies in here. We gotta do something.
I mean, what can you do? Everybody ends up in here. People as young as these two, or people all the way up to Cedric's age. Hell, they'd probably throw a corpse in here if they could.
I think they have. I look over to the corner. There's no corpse there.
I think you're gonna look at me.
We all look at Cedric, like, not yet.
Not yet.
How long have we been here?
You've all been here probably 2-3 days at this point.
Okay.
Zuzu's gonna stand up and go grab boys kind of roughly and just drag them over into the slop line.
Yeah, they give you slop through a little slat in the concrete wall.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna just kind of sit them down where the Noel and what's her name, Kesna was.
Yeah, there's open
Go back to
seats.
eating.
The
Yeah,
young
Cora would get up and walk over and like try the younger boy who's like crying, go over and just try to like console him, maybe clean the area from where the cornbread went everywhere.
yeah,
And like try to make him feel like just like motherly toward him.
he's not even really interested in the food. He's just kind of sobbing in his hands. The older brother is just kind of like, "Thank you, like I appreciate the effort, but it's not. Well, we'll be fine. We've seen worse." And he just
You
like
need
kind of keeps like stroking the younger brother's hair.
He needs to eat. You got to make sure he eats. You got to eat in here.
He just like nods and he's like, "I know," and he like takes the cornbread and tries to hand it to his little brother.
He's like, so just like, watch out for the no if you want to keep eating. It's Merrick, but you'll be fine. As you said, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and
So-
Zuzu's just gonna kind of pat the little kid on the back, like way too hard for a little kid. But just kind of be like, eat some, kid.
Yeah, he finally will start eating, and after everyone encouraged, he kind of like I think takes a moment to like look at everyone, teary eyed, and even though you're all kind of a gruff bunch, like everyone's being encouraging, and maybe it's a little less scary than he thought. He starts eating after a bit.
Yeah, Cora
How-
gives him like a warm smile, like very soft eyes, like whenever he look encouraging, like kind of nods a little bit, like go on.
Yeah, giving him the motherly attitude.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and they kind of start eating. They assimilate with you a bit and chill for kind of the rest of the lunch period. And as things end, like the head guard comes in, this guy named Vata. You actually have learned that Vata is the son of Lord Jericho, the guy who owns and runs this place. Lord Jericho makes rare appearances, but it's always everyone's doing what he wants in preparation for the next event, right? And that's what you keep hearing. So Vata comes in, this kind of handsome-looking young, slave driver guard, and he starts kind of giving you guys the lowdown on what you're going to do the next day. And he's like, tomorrow morning, he's like, we don't just row. He's like, we do a scrimmage. No weapons. You can pretend like you have weapons, and no crocodiles. Yet.
Are we the ones with the crocodiles?
The crocodiles are in the water. If you fall in, it's your problem. And he's like, but we're going to pick teams. Everyone line up. And he makes like all of the prisoners in the, cafeteria area line up. And he starts going down this line of 20 or so people and telling them which of the three armies they're on. Whether it's General Sisyphus' army. Let's give a name to the second army. I don't have one. Let me roll real quick. Ooh. The Kaidi Legion. And then he comes down and he names all of you standing at the end of the line. Of course, the last few of you. You're all Bone Legion.
Motherfucker.
And he kind of chuckles as he walks away.
Oh look, it's us! Huzzah!
It's fucking bullshit.
Right, spirits up. Look, it could be much worse. Look, I think we've got a strong team. The power of positive thinking. Come on, I couldn't be happier with the choices.
I look at the other teams. How do they look?
Mostly like barbarians, raiders, thieves, cutthroats. Some of them like maybe some saddled drunks and stuff as well.
And did the kids get put on our team?
They did.
All right, so we got a grandpa, a grandma, 2 children, and I don't know, prissy pants over there. I look over at Zuzu. Actually, you seem all right. That's like 2 out of 10. I'm not liking our chances.
Well, I am a grandma. That is for sure. But I'm very strong, and I have. There's a lot of I survived this long, and there's a lot of things that I can do. So maybe just don't count your chickens before they hatch on this grandma.
Okay. All right. So 3 out of 10. Wow. Wow. My eyes have been opened.
Zuzu, I'm not sure if you heard, but he said your pants are sissy.
You sure he was talking
Or
about you, Dante?
What? No. They're not prissy pants. They're silken. Nothing
They're fine
prissy about
britches.
that. Thank you, Cedric.
I bury my head in my hands.
Well, I think the obvious thing
Hand.
to do here is kill the children.
Oh, I totally agree. Wait, wait,
Come
hold up.
again?
Hold up.
She doesn't say
Back
that.
up.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Dark turn. And we found out Cora was the bad guy all along.
Well, the children are just gonna hold us back, so we'll kill them.
Detect evil goes off
Look.
and Cora just lights up like a fucking Christmas tree.
Not
All
the
right,
first
here-
time that suggestion's been made in this game.
All right, here's the plan. We stuff the children into the cannons, and then we fire the children onto the other ship.
Yes, how can the children do damage as they die?
Hey,
all right. So, moving on. Sorry to cut you off, Davis. I was just gonna say that they kind of tell you, I think, like, tomorrow morning you're gonna have breakfast. You'll have like a 30-minute planning session with each other, and you'll go over the equipment, with the quartermaster, and then we'll do the scrimmage. But for now, no more talking. Like, back to your cells. If you had one more thing you wanted to say, Vaughn, you can say it real quick because I know I cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, so they're like, back to your cells, and kind of lead you out into the dark, dreary stone hallways of this complex. At this time, though, I think it would be a good time to talk about goals and beliefs, especially with the children and Cora. First, let's talk about beliefs, because I think there's a pretty obvious one for Cora here.
I hope it's not about killing the children.
No, not that.
I was joking.
But you can choose exactly what it might be, but she obviously has strong beliefs when it comes to the current situation and the children.
Yes. She sees them as like innocent. Like there's no way they can be held accountable for their actions.
Yeah, totally. And that could be your belief right there. We usually write them from the first person, so if that's what she believes, that's a belief. You can put it to paper. I usually limit it to 2 at a time. It's just kind of hard to juggle more than 1 or 2. For me personally, as the GM, 1 is usually better. I usually make you keep 1 and evolve it as you go, or change it. And you can change it anytime you want. And it's not the only belief your character holds. It's just like a strong belief they hold about the current situation. And the idea about this is it helps us like get these dramatic roleplay moments, but you also get XP if you play on your belief. And playing on your belief means you either lean into it really hard to up the drama or change the story in an interesting way, or you play against it as your character changes, which is really hard but very interesting story-wise if you can make it happen. But so I often will throw out like little kind of hooks. So when those kids came in and those guards were giving them a rough time, you did act on your belief, but probably not enough what we would normally classify for getting experience. Usually you have to do something kind of crazy or like I said, make your own life harder, usually, or, complicate your goal with your belief or something like that. It needs to just be like a big dramatic, but that's okay. Beliefs like are big lead ups. So now we have this like seed of your belief and it's going to culminate in a big scene at some point. I have a feeling, is the hope.
Yeah, I think it's 2 days in. She's probably not comfortable, like not sure what's going on, still feeling it out. But I think, so like just protect the children would be the belief, or like
sure, or like I believe children are pure and have no place in this awful, or have no business being in this awful place. That could be a pretty solid belief.
Got it.
Or like, no matter their crimes, children don't deserve this fate. You can word them how you like. But everybody, this is a good time for everyone to consider a belief for their character. And again, you can change it whenever something more prevalent pops up. But they have to have a feeling about their current situation. And also this new news that you're on a team, and not only that, a team that everyone wants to lose and they purposefully are stacking the odds against. You can also I would just write 1 goal for now. something you think your character could finish maybe by the end of this session, and we don't have a lot of time, or more than likely by the end of next session. And it's got a nice little instruction, step by step, for writing goals up there if you've never written our goals before. And the way we usually do this is, yeah, people are putting it in chat there. People usually put it in their little belief slot and drop it in chat. Zuzu, can you choose one belief? You can have all three, but only show me one.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
And if you have goals, you can mark those, separate. I want the belief that's, pertaining to the current situation most of all.
Probably the third one there then. Oh, sorry.
And again, we really only give XP for like the one active belief you have. Goals are a little more unlimited. You can have quite a few.
I don't see where to drag him in right now. I'm just gonna write mine in the chat.
Sure. The way people are, they're just adding like a little extra note slot at the bottom and putting them in. And then next to the note slots, you don't drag, but there's a little dice icon. If you click that, it drops it in chat. Is it notes is at the bottom one? Yeah. You add the plus sign to add new note fields, and then you can hit the little dice under each note to drop it in chat. That's where you can like put your character abilities and new magic items you get, etc. Each can have its own little square.
Oh, so if I put like a plus sign and then type in that, it will show up in the chat?
So if you
Sorry.
at the bottom of your sheet, it's all right. You see the notes section at the bottom of your sheet. You press
Yes.
the plus there, and I'm doing it to Andy's sheet right now. You type something in there. You can press the plus sign again. It makes a second one. You can type something in there.
Right.
And then any of them at any time, if you press that little D20 icon below it, it just drops the contents of that particular note into the chat. So
Okay.
So if you add a note to your sheet at the bottom, then there should be a little tiny D20, gray D20 button right underneath it.
I got you.
And clicking that will drop the contents of, here, I'll do it to your sheet too.
I'm going to try to do it to
I
my
see.
belief and see
Test.
if I know. Yes. Okay, cool.
Test. There you go.
Get out of here.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
And then, it's nice you can have each kind of like ability that your character has in its own separate little thing. So you can quickly drop the text if we ever need to reference it. Or like your spells, you can put each spell in a separate one.
Right.
That way we have a quick reference. I gotta reload my Roll20. Dang it. All right, let's see what we got. We'll start going through these. Zaretti, your belief is sorcery should never be resorted to when practical solutions can achieve the same effect. I like that. Just your good general anti-sorcery attitude. Your goal is I will make sure as many people as possible on our side survive the coming battle. That's good.
It's either that. I might change it to make our side come out on top, because that's kind of serves the same purpose. Anyway, continue.
I think it's good. What I would say is add a second belief that's more immediate. Maybe something about the scrimmage or your plans for tomorrow.
Second belief or second goal?
Sorry, second goal, rather.
Sure thing. Yeah, because this is not good for tomorrow. You're totally right.
That's more of like a 3 or maybe our second session, or you might get that next session, actually. I don't know.
That's for when the real thing happens, really.
Yeah,
you're right.
You don't have to write a more immediate one, but if you wanted to net some XP quickly, you could write a smaller goal.
It makes more sense to plan for tomorrow. Please continue, though.
Let's see. Dante, belief my survival comes before anything else. That's a good one. I will survive the arena boat battle. I like that because some people are getting into the team mindset, but that doesn't mean that you have to. Let's see. Zuzu, belief taking another's life is commonplace and can even be justified, but stealing another's life to make it subservient to your own can never be. That's a good one. Very good. Goals. I will escape my servitude and return to hunting my fortune in the desert. And if not, I'll die trying. Let's see. Yeah, I think that works. Cordine. Children should not face the same consequences as adults, no matter the misdeed. That's good. Cedric, your belief is, I believe, friendliness, a good-natured attitude, and the power of positive thinking can overcome any obstacle. Oh, I like this.
That's really good.
It's a good starting belief because this allows me to break your character. but truly though, the beauty of the belief system is when you can evolve beliefs over time and you can really see how characters like change and have personality arcs and stuff. Like this seems like one that is not going to last. So I really like it. Or maybe it will. Maybe it'll keep evolving even more positively. Who fucking knows?
Could one of my goals be to try and help him keep that belief?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. All right.
I thought about hedging my bets and saying, I bet I will die in the arena. That way I guaranteed get the XP.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Zaretti. I'll ensure the Bone Legion usurps the competition by any means. That's good. I'll make sure.
That's more immediate. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Cordine. I'll use my abilities to protect the weakest of the group. That's good. Did everybody get a belief in there, Cedric, or a goal in there, Cedric? You need a goal still.
It was before his belief. So
Yeah,
above Cordine's
I will
belief.
share my quality to the group given the opportunity. That's good. So
I figure doing anything at this point is going to. I think low expectations is kind of where the bar is set.
Yeah, see, we actually set you up to really impress us if you do anything, and that's really, really good.
yeah, that's good goal right in there. You just gotta leverage, the story into easy XP for yourself. Sometimes, when those big fat goals pay off, though, they're always great. All right, cool. Good goal writing. We'll skip right to the next morning. We have about half an hour left. So the next morning you get up and they bring you through breakfast, but this time all the prisoners are like brought through at once. It's much more busy. You don't get nearly as much of a chance to sit next to each other or talk to each other. Maybe one or two. You know what? Let's do a roll. Nobody's rolled any fucking dice yet. You try and leverage for seats near your teammates so you can talk about the upcoming strategy and battle. I'm gonna say your choice. You can either roll wisdom for like perception for spotting a good seat quickly, or maybe dexterity for outspeeding someone to a last open seat. And we'll get one from everybody. And the way this works is you just hit the little D20 icon right next to the number, and it rolls.
Dag.
Ooh.
Now it's been a while. Black Hack is over than, not equal to or over than. Or under than, rather.
Yep, that is 3 failures.
Over or under.
Nice, Cora. So, unlike 5e, you want to roll low. A 1 is a crit, and a 20 is a crit fail. That's only for skill checks or ability checks, though. Like in combat, it's still, you want to roll high.
Okay, cool.
But you both rolled well and succeeded. So Cora and Cedric, you get to sit next to each other at lunch, but everyone else has to sit like alone amongst the rabble.
And she immediately just like puts a little bit of her, like what she has on her plate, gives a little bit extra to Cedric right away. Just kind of without even asking, like totally like your mom is trying to get rid of the last of the mashed potatoes before she washes the pot. Just puts it on his plate.
Oh, thank you. But I think we should both keep our strength up. I worry about. I don't worry about my contributions to the team. I'm sure you can take care of yourself, but I don't want to drag everyone down.
I see something special in you, Cedric. You need to just keep your strength up and just do what you know how to do.
Well, I do have a trick or two up my sleeve. Don't tell the others, especially that Zaretti, he has no use for magic, but I do know a thing or two where I wouldn't consider myself an adept, or really even an apprentice, but when push comes to shove, I think I can at least contribute to my part.
What if you could just find a way to do it, and when you're staying out of their way, I think that they would really like that.
Oh, don't worry about that. Yes, well put, well put.
Cut over to Vaughn, who is sat next to Noel because he rolled an 18. Noel turns and looks at you, and he's like, "What? And he just waits for a reply.
Dude, I'm sticking my arm down your throat.
He kind of like glances at your plate and back at you, and then he just goes, "Riddle!" And he like turns to the person on the other side, and he just like grabs their plate and starts slamming it into his mouth.
Just gonna kind of eat quickly and like my arm and shoulder kind of like tucked around my plate.
Noel eats like one or two more plates, and people around him start being like, "Hey, what the fuck?" And like a fight starts erupting, and he's just like, "Rah!" And just starts like biting people on the chest, and they all just like start, spilling out onto your table.
I'm gonna just like shove the dude in the face who's closest to me like off the other side of the table and just like keep eating in the midst of this hectic shit going on around me.
Cora and Cedric, anything else you say to each other before we cut to you meeting your group for the scrimmage?
I think Cora would, not say necessarily to Cedric, but just kind of look and see if she can spot the boys.
Yeah, they're probably sitting alone, not too far from Noel and everything, but they're not so close that they're like wrapped up in the fight. But they're looking a little worried as they watch it happen nearby.
She's just gonna kind of try to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, they've been able to stick together at least, it seems.
And
I
is
think
there
so.
anything that growing up in a jail set, like having this as my background, like would there be anything that I could know or do that would help us, being that like she's familiar with, like she knows her way around a cell at least?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple things you could do. You could try and like memorize guards' schedules or like lift a key from somewhere or someone. I mean, you tell me what you want to do.
Well, I'm just not sure what would, at this point, I guess I maybe should just wait and see what we are going to be doing to see what would help.
Sure. I mean, there is a fight going on. Feel like the guards run over and start getting in on it. It would be a decent time to either do something you want to do unseen or lift a key if you want to try something crazy like that.
Can she look around and see if she sees any like type of like plans that might be somewhere, like a clipboard, with like some information on it that she might be able to get to give them like a leg up?
Yeah. Why don't you make a wisdom check for perception, and you can roll it at advantage for your background if you want to burn your one background use this session.
Does that mean like in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure session meant the same thing.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So do I just hit the D20 twice then?
I think if you hit it, it prompts you. I don't know.
Okay.
It might ask you.
Oh, it says advantage. Yeah,
will.
totally. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
And then, so by the way, if you guys haven't used, nice crit. If you guys haven't used the D20 roller or the Roll20 roller before, if you hover over your roll, it will show you the math that it did and what you actually rolled. So you rolled a 1 and a 9, but it kept the 1 and it turned it green because it was a crit.
Amazing. She did it.
Absolutely, yeah. So she spots, I think one of the guards is like an administrative guard that stands in like a little booth that like, is caged in the wall essentially. And they just kind of watch everything, but they have like some paperwork and other things in there. And he's opened the door and like ran over to help the other guards fight off this, ravaging knoll. And the door's wide open, and they don't normally do that. They're supposed to always close that door to this like little office that branches off here. You could totally just reach in and grab a stack of papers or like the map off the wall. And also, I feel like this is such a big, intricate, ancient complex that like they all have to use maps to like, navigate their day to day, like to get to the other tower, or if they need to go to a section they don't normally work in. So there probably is some sort of floor plan there.
Awesome. Yeah, I think she would try to act like maybe she like had the vapors. Like this fight was just like too much for her little old me. and just try to see like she needed to get some air to like step away and reach in and just grab as much as she can, like that looks like maps or like plans or where something might be, like that, like bombs, you know.
Sure, let's do one more roll to see how much you actually get.
Oh, is
I
that one not good enough? I'm
uh,
just teasing.
I know it is, but I wasn't gonna give you the option to get anything else than other than the map. But with the one, I'll let you maybe possibly get
Yay, no, I was just teasing. Okay, so
snag some
wisdom
more.
again.
I would say, I don't know, I feel like this is more like either intelligence, like being able to quickly identify the things that are like actually of content, or maybe dexterity, just for like the sheer amount of just snatching a bunch of shit as fast as possible. You tell me, how is she doing it? Is she being careful and methodical and like trying to spot useful content, or is she just trying to cram a bunch of papers down her britches and run out?
I'm gonna say that she has like been like looking since she's been there. She's been trying to eye everything out since she's kind of familiar, matches like her background, that she would like want to familiarize herself with this type of, place. So I'm gonna roll intelligence
Okay.
and hope it's good. I'm scared.
Oh,
Oh man,
no.
that's okay. You can't win them all. It's
Yeah.
because I was sassy.
Yeah, I mean,
It's karma.
I'm gonna say you grab a few things and like everything you look at seems to just be like lunch order, lunch order, lunch order. Like why are these lunch orders all stacked here, like in a file? And then you do just grab the floor plan. I think that's the only thing you're able to get. But you roll it up in a tight scroll, and maybe, I don't know, stash it down your pant leg.
Sure.
Yeah, and you get the
My garter belt.
It's all menus, and they're all say the same thing: pork mash, potato mash, onion mash, every day.
Why did they have so many?
Or pork mashes tomorrow.
Like a calendar for the meals that are just.
Oh, onion mash, my favorite. I hope it
Most
has this
depressing
every single
calendar.
day.
Well, at least it's paper. She's got paper now. She needs to write one of you a note.
By the way, the kids, I think you learned their names were Dita and Roscoe, if you asked.
Dita.
We didn't, but we were planning on it.
We'll put it out there before I forget, so you can remind me later when I ask. Awesome. So you snag the map. Where do you go? What do you do after that?
I think I'm gonna go back to Cedric, and like he's my friend, and he seems to have a good, like, we match as far as like positive attitude, and just kind of be like, you know, also like she's exhilarated that she's just done this, and she's just like, all right, I think I've got a way for both of us to get a leg up here, and she kind of like, shows him. I guess she lifts up her dress and gives him a peek at her leg. But it's like the map there.
Yeah, I mean,
Gracious madam.
I feel like this thing is as long as your leg, so it like goes down to your ankle. You know what I mean?
Just as titillating.
An ankle, my God. So did anyone else notice this? Everyone that's not Cedric or Cora, roll a wisdom check.
I should probably be at a disadvantage for this because I'm.
You're in the midst of a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Oh. Dante and Zeretti, you both, I think, glance at each other, like at her, like you see her like sneaking out of the little guard booth, and then you like glance at each other. It's that, that scene in It's Always Sunny where like Charlie makes contact with Mac, eye contact across the restaurant. And he's like,
Oh yeah, like that.
He's looking right at me, dude.
And Vaughn's just got his head down as food is flying around him and shit. Just.
I mean, now with all these people fighting, are there spaces open that I can move to?
Yeah, probably. You can slide in.
Absolutely sliding over there.
Yeah, Dante will go that way, and on his way there, grab the two boys and kind of pull them over with him.
All right. Yeah, you're able to for now.
Yeah, of course. Oh, well, look what the cat dragged in.
Looks like the cat ate the canary.
I don't get it. Anyway,
Sue's
what you
quite
got
proud of
there?
herself.
The fight is getting rowdier and more guards are coming, so you know you're not gonna have too long to talk before they pull you out of here and settle everything down.
All right. Well, we missed our best window for formulating plans. So, what are we going to be doing?
Just curious what you got.
It looks like some plans, like a blueprint or map to the grounds. If you can get a chance
Let
to
me.
look, it's as big as my leg.
May I see that?
Can I? I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to give it away that I have it. If it's like a big ass scroll, I'm unfurling.
Yeah, I wouldn't show it to anyone right here.
Maybe
I don't
we
think
wait
this is a good
until
time.
right
You're about to have like a
before the
planning
rehearsal.
session with each other soon, so.
Yeah.
Well, we can actually kind of skip to that. Like you all play. I think the guards pretty much just kick everyone out because the fight gets so bad. But you immediately get brought to like a little room with a quartermaster. He shows you the spears, the bows, the rifles, and the cannons you'll have available, and just how they work really quickly. And he's like, "All right, now you have strategy. 30 minutes, I'll be back. Then you're on the boats." And he like leaves you in a again just a dark, very plain, almost concrete looking room with just a single tall, skinny window for light.
So she like checks to see if the coast is clear, and then pulls out the papers that say what lunch is. And she's like, "No, this is the wrong thing." And like pulls out the map and like unfurls it. It's like, okay, like there's got to be something here that can help us figure out what to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a soldier with an extensive history of like actually leading, not like higher up or anything, but I have a pretty basic understanding of tactics. Can I look at this and see if I can like divine anything useful from it?
From the map itself?
Okay, was it just a map that she has then?
Yeah, it's like a floor plan of, again, you're in these towers, right? That are like these almost ancient, like obelisk-like structures. And I think the insides are, Andy, they're like, is it Feiner? SIU? That is like,
Right. We're in hell.
yeah, like there's this building at SIU, the campus where we live, that is based on a building at Harvard, which is like riot proof. It's like this big, crazy long building divided in like 5 different sections, and none of the sections have entryways to the other sections. You have to like go outside and come back in. But anyway, the tower I don't think is quite like that. You have to go outside and come back in, but I think it's very complex. It has lots of levels, and there's 2 towers. So one guard might only work on one level of one tower for most of their life, and not really know their way around. So if they need to go to another place, they have to have this map essentially to understand this ancient weird tower that they have. I'm gonna put you
I mean,
back.
can we just use this to try to get out? Can we just like try to go?
It does show you areas you weren't even aware existed.
Now that is a wonderful idea. I have nothing to prove. I don't. Boats, right?
Right. Well, we'd have to make that decision very quickly because if they come back here and we're still here, we're going out on those boats. But if they come back here and we're not here, everything goes into lockdown very quickly.
I'm in. We move, we keep quiet, we stay together.
That's the spirit.
But which way? I mean, this is just a map.
Yeah, you guys, this isn't a real battle, so we can study this map for a few days and maybe think about escaping at some other time.
Fair.
I mean,
fair.
it's still a real battle. It's just a reenactment of a old battle. The cannons he just showed you and the guns he just showed you are very real.
Yeah, but this is just a
But
scrimmage right now.
No, what
They
you're doing, yes,
specifically-
yeah, true.
Yeah, right now we're doing a scrimmage.
So
I'm in for escape.
while you're deciding to leave or not, Roscoe, the younger boy, opens like a footlocker, really the only thing in the room besides the table, and in it are like a cloak for everyone, with kind of like a bone, or rather a tunic for everyone with like a skeleton print on it, and then also like a bony skull mask for everyone.
I wish we could like find a way to switch costumes with, like trick people and then make them go out and we sneak out.
Are we meant to wear this? It's ridiculous.
One of them has also a crown. That's the necromancer.
Zuzu's gonna grab one with the crown. Just fancies it. He thinks he's very fancy.
Oh.
So we're
Someone
just this
thinks
is just like
highly
a
of
practice.
themselves. Yes, this is just kind of rehearsal. And then sometime next week we actually all die. Or, well, yes. Seeing
Well, I
as
say
we're
we
on
go
the...
out there and we all keep our eyes open for a way to sneak out when it's the real thing happens. We just need to spend the next week trying to get a plan together to get out of here.
Exactly. But so I just want to make sure what's on this map is just one floor.
No, it's the entire tower. It's got
Okay,
like,
so we can kind of tear this map up into floors, basically.
yeah, probably even more. It's like a big scroll. Like it's huge. It covers the entire table when you unfurl it.
Like my idea is for kind of each of us to study a different couple of floors or a different floor, and
Well, I mean,
then on our escape we'd be able to like be the one guiding on that floor.
sure. You don't need to know every floor, but you just need to know the useful parts about each floor.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything to write with? Because I got all these menus. We could flip them over and just sketch so we don't have to tear it up in case, well, somebody gets lost or somebody gets in trouble and says something to the wrong person and is gone. We don't have that part of the map anymore.
I'm afraid
Anybody
they
got
took.
something stuck somewhere nobody knows about?
Yeah, I'm afraid they took my writing pen when they arrested me.
There's no coal or ash or anything, like nothing. I could do I guess I couldn't do a rubbing because it's not a. Well, y'all haven't been very friendly. Like you're gonna be on our team, so I'm hesitant to just hand over something that I had to work hard for.
How about
You
this?
don't.
We weren't on a team before, but now we're stuck with each other. That means my survival depends on your survival.
Eh.
If I may
Well,
make
why don't
another
you study the
suggestion.
map, and if you figure anything out, or if you need somebody to help get you out of here, then I'll be one of those. But until then, like Cedric, just stay out of the way during this battle.
Well, that certainly allays my reservations.
If I may make a recommendation for this coming scrimmage, if you've got something special up your sleeve, keep it concealed. We don't want them knowing what we can bring to the table if we do end up doing this thing for real. Ideally, plan A is escape. Plan B, we're gonna have to go to war.
I agree.
So consider this scrimmage thrown from our end.
So you're saying we go out here, we lose the scrimmage, take in the sights, try to figure out if there's any escape routes, piece it all together, and hope to God when the real thing occurs, we can get out of here.
That sounds like a plan to me.
I'd agree with that, but if we can drown some of the other team, that just means we got a weaker team that we're facing if we can't escape. So it'd be a good
Well,
idea to take this somewhat seriously. Maybe not,
I-
you know,
only
reveal all.
thing I would be slightly wary about that because we don't know exactly what the guards are going to bring down enough if we do end up killing a few of them. We could just be making things worse for ourselves for all we know.
I
mean-
figure this is a slave trading company. They'll have other slaves, but taking out some of the juicy ones might be a good idea.
So right when you say
Kill
that,
that damn Knoll, I'm gonna.
right when you do it, say that the door kind of creaks open, it makes you all jump, and you all like kind of scramble to try and cover the map. The door opens, but the guard doesn't come all the way, and you just hear like kind of some scratching and like maybe scuffling in the hall, and you hear the guard like, no, and he like pushes Noel into the cell, and he's like, he's on your team, he can't get along with anybody else. And then he slams the door behind the Knoll. And then Knoll just like like looks at everyone, like kind of licking its chops all crazy in the corner.
Hello.
You're just gonna hear Zuzu say, "Son of a bitch."
You know, I'm actually okay with this. I like
Does
this
anybody
guy.
have any meat? You got any of that soup, Cedric? Can you feed him?
Oh, fresh out of soup. On behalf of the group, welcome.
Is there...
I'm gonna grab a spear and stand in between him and the rest of everybody else.
He's just like sitting on the floor gnawing on his own like hind leg. Like and slobbering all over the floor.
Well, he might make a good distraction.
Dante takes one of the spears and begins humming a little bit as he is kind of like scratching his name into the wall. And then he kind of snaps over at Null and points at it. And then tries to pass him the spear and kind of like trying to create a bonding moment for to express language to one another.
Are you using a spell here?
No, just trying to use some of my bardic talents to see if I can
calm him a bit?
potentially. Yeah, just kind of calm him and create some kind of tactic or team here out of this chaos.
Sure. Why don't you make a little charisma roll? I'm going to say disadvantage because this guy is not receptive.
What
Oh,
about
there you
that,
go.
though?
Well, your advantage will cancel, so you just roll normal.
You said make a charisma?
Yep.
Normal? Gotcha. Ah, it doesn't work.
He like looks up at you as you get close, and he's like, "What a soup!" And then he just like keeps like gnawing on his own leg again.
I'm calling him soup from now on. It's the only thing I got out of that. Anybody else? Any luck understanding that?
Don't give him the spear. Just please don't give him the spear.
Hello, Soup. We are your teammates.
Soup.
Yes, we're here to help. Now, you've certainly got spunk and you've got a go-get-him attitude. And I think, well, if you do good for us, more soup for soup.
Soup.
Precisely.
He just like pants his tongue, you know, and like kind of has that dumb cross-eyed look on his face still. That
Yeah,
weird.
we pretty much everybody knows that these things aren't really sentient, right? They're not really communicable.
I mean, that's what I think he's giving off to you, but there are, you know, that some Knoll tribes have like diplomatic relations with like the prince, actually, in the north.
Okay.
But I don't know, you might also just dismiss it like the cat worship that happens in Sarkhan, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like it or not, if it does come to blows, I'm personally gonna be glad to have some kind of freak like him on our team.
I agree. I'm just gonna prod him out front.
I think that's a good idea.
So, do you guys do any more planning?
What kind of boats are we talking about here? Are we talking about triremes? Are we talking about oar-driven boats, sail only? Like what are we looking at?
They're like, yeah, the Viking style, single sail with oars.
Okay.
In this case.
Well, we've got time. We can at least plan for the real thing. We're going to need someone to be able to direct the boat while we're out there. A figurehead, that's probably going to be, well, I'll look over at Zuzu. Whoever's got the crown. Ideally, in these sorts of battles, you have a few options. These are going to be fast-moving boats, so we're going to need a way to either light their boats on fire from a distance or either ram into them and hope that we can board their side for close quarters combat, or we can capsize their boats. Any of those three options will do. Yeah.
We try to get them in the water. We know they're gonna come after the necromancer, which is me, so we can make use of that by maybe trying to draw some of them into a more aggressive attack, surround them or something. But I don't have much river combat, so I'm thinking we ram somebody and board a boat and throw them in the water.
Agreed. The faster we can disable their equipment and their boats, the better chance it gives us. They keep moving, we're at a disadvantage.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be looking around
Spears
for
and cannons in here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use those.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking around at the what we've got available. Are we finding like you said guns and cannons, but are there like more primitive stuff like bows or arrows that can be lit on fire?
Yep, there's bows, spears. I think there's just like some basic swords. They let you keep whatever armor you got or weapon you had as well. But the main thing they give you, I think, like spears, bows, rifles, and cannons, like the traditional boat warfare stuff.
Personally, I worry about the cannons capsizing our own boat with the recoil.
These are also cool, like mini, like 3/4 scale cannons. They shoot smaller cannonballs because you're in slightly smaller boats.
Oh, okay.
They don't want you like hitting the people on the shore, etc.
Okay. That's more reasonable than what I had in my brain.
They still like can shoot grape shot and shit and fuck your boat up, and chain shot. They give you, I'm sure that they give you like a few different kinds of balls you can throw in there, and they have chain shot with it. So that's always fun.
Do I have my spell book?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
They like assume these things are tools of your gladiation, so they let you keep them for the most part. All right, so if you don't want to do any more planning, you're gonna roll up the map and keep it for now, Cora?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I think so. I just think after she hasn't felt like super good vibes from the whole party. She's like not excited about like ripping it up. But I think that she will like be like, I'm gonna try to find something. I have extra paper now, so like I'm gonna try to find something so that we can all have, so, like she has like something to write with.
Sure. Does anyone argue with that for now? No?
If she wants to hold on to it, let her.
You're a team now, so you gotta trust her.
Yeah.
I think at this point, Dieter is like, what are we supposed to do when we're on the boat?
Keep us ammoed up, load whatever cannons we take, ensure that everyone has arrows, keep your head low.
He gives a solemn nod. We can do that. He looks at Roscoe and he's like, is it a problem that me and Roscoe, well, we can't swim?
Ideally, it won't be, because this boat ain't gonna fucking capsize. It might be a problem in the scrimmage, actually. Do we have floaties? Does anyone have floaties? I don't have floaties.
Roscoe looks like very worried at Cora when you say this.
Oh, you'll be fine, honey. Just, stay low. And, if you do find yourself in the water, just, try to get air in your shirt on your way down, or you could just grab onto something. If the boat's exploding, there's going to be something to grab onto.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's like, will you stay close to me?
Oh, don't you worry about it. I'll be right there.
And
do we know if there are islands in the Colosseum?
Well,
or is it all water?
The towers are sometimes part of it. Like they use them as like, guard towers with cannons and stuff. And there are also like rocks and promontories around the base of the natural rocks that the towers sit on that you can use as well.
We can also drop them off on one of the islands. That might be the safest option. We can pick you up after the scrimmage is over.
Hey, listen. I know they're just kids, but they've got to have their use, right? I mean,
of course they have a use. Yeah, I'm not saying they don't have a use. I'm just saying that I'm not planning on winning this scrimmage. I'm expecting the boat to go down.
I mean, Dieter said
if the boat goes down, we die.
Dieter said he would reload, even though he can't swim.
Yeah, but like this ain't the real thing. I'm not really sweating whether we win or not on this one. The kids want to be safer. They're safer on solid ground.
I guess
Maybe
what
we
I'm
could just
asking.
boat up close to the shore.
Yeah.
I
We're
guess what
entertaining
I'm
no
asking, Dieter, Roscoe, have you ever used a bow or a sword or a rifle or anything? Or why did you even end up in here? You're children.
Dieter's like, well, we use a knife sometimes when we cut people's purses open.
That answers both questions.
There's nothing they could have done that should have made him end up in here.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the shopkeeper we stole from, the shop's owned by Lord Jericho. We didn't know.
Of course you didn't know. You're just babies.
Ah, first thing about a tick, kid. Always know who the mark is. That's how you end up in high water.
He just like nods. He's taking in your criminal knowledge.
Does somebody have to row? Cora's like strong. Like she has a high strength, so if somebody has to like row, like
Mhm.
she could do that. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about boats in real life.
Yeah, you guys do have sails, but probably one or two people need to be like rowing to kind of keep you moving.
If that's a strength thing, then she would say like, my sleeves might cover it, but I'm pretty strong, so if that'll help, I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be helpful. We can't rely on sails in this kind of environment. Being mobile, using oars, that's how we're gonna, outspeed our competition, hoping that they aren't quite as knowledgeable about naval warfare.
Yeah, we just need to see if we're gonna be outnumbered or if we're the horde that are coming in. We need to just kind of do our best in this initial battle. That's why I'm kind of against setting the kids on the shore. They need to get their sea legs under them. We're not going to be able to protect them for their entire lives, and we're not going to be able to protect them forever here for sure, no matter what. I mean, they could get hit by a cannonball standing on the shore. So
And she
I
kind of like
figured
hits
the best.
you, like, no, don't, not in front of the little one.
You know, life is harsh, okay? And I think if they just stay out of my way, I'll do my best to make sure they come out of this thing alive.
Yeah, and they better stay out of my way, too.
You know what's already?
So
Oh god, I can hear Zerka now.
the guards come and open the door and they're like, you ready? Time's up. Scrimmage.
What
Yeah.
say you, lads? Do you want to give it a go? Take your fate into your own hands.
Bone
Yeah, I
Legion
know.
on 3.
What?
Bone Legion on 3.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
huzzah!
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Why not?
1, 2, 3.
Bone
Bone
Legion.
Legion!
Bone
Well,
Legion.
let's get the fuck out there.
Yeah,
So
I'm pumped.
they lead you through like these bleak, just like plain gray stone staircases that just wind and wind down a shaft forever through like the center of the tower, and eventually come out at the natural stone on which the tower sits on in the bay. And they lead you down some natural stairs to a little dock area on the backside of the tower where they have all the boats, kind of corralled up on some docks. And they start loading you up on your different ships. And this is when you see the others coming out as well. You see Kesna. You see her dirty, angry-looking friends. They are eyeing Noel angrily. Some of them have large bite marks and bandages on their faces and arms from the fight earlier this day. And yeah, they kind of all load on the boats as they eye you. And Kesna gives you like a finger across the throat, as she looks at you all loading into your boat.
Dante gives her kind of a wave.
I think Cedric sees that. He's like, "Oh, come on, we just met him, and he's not really with us." Like sees that they're all angry at the knoll.
So the guards come over and they give you a bunch of gunpowder and they're like, no bullets, but still gunpowder for Lord Jericho's enjoyment. And they like kind of look up to the other tower where they don't keep prisoners, Jericho's personal tower, the other one, and you see him sitting on the only balcony coming out of the smooth face of the stone tower, like up there with his, fancy dogs and his harem, kind of watching over the bay.
Hey, you all remember when I was saying probably no one's gonna die during this scrimmage? We're probably gonna
Yes.
have to kill some people on that boat.
The guard's like, shut up,
No.
masks on.
Mask on, yeah, sure.
And then he like kicks the boat out into the harbor and he's like, you start at the east end. And he points to like kind of the docks over here. And you guys kind of paddle out into position. The other boats paddle out to face you on the opposite side of the harbor over here. It's a big harbor. It's like, almost about a mile across. So you're in this like kind of area between the rocks and the docks over here. And yeah, pretty soon they shout, from the tower. Jericho shouts like, "Begin!" And the other two boats, which are much larger and also contain quite a few more crew members than you have, start charging at you. And pretty much immediately, as they get close enough to fire their rifles, they turn abroad of you, and they, Kesna gives the order for everyone to fire. And of course, a real iron bullet rips a hole through the side of your boat right in front of Cedric.
They're firing! It's live ammunition!
Yeah, fucking figures.
Noel says, "Soup."
Yeah, we're all gonna be soup. What do we do? Does it get to
Positions!
vote?
Listen to the knoll. Everybody in the soup.
Soup, everyone into the soup.
Soup position.
Return fire. Return fire.
So you don't have any bullets, but you have gunpowder. But they're not far now. They're within firing range at least, so they're not too far away. Either way, this is where we will roll initiative next time.
Right.
Do we roll now, or do
Nah.
we roll next time? Yeah, that makes sense.
We'll roll next time at the beginning.
Okay.
That was great. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
I am genuinely excited. I love everything about this group dynamic.
Me too. It's fun so far. I was worried the gladiator being a prisoner would be too boring, but it's been fun and interesting so far.
I love Soup. I really want Soup to live.
We'll see. We'll see how he does. Real quick, let's do the end of session council. Probably don't have much to go over since it's session 1. But with our goal system at the end of every session, we always do the council. All right. Anybody accomplish a goal? I don't think so yet. But if you think you did, drop it.
Either.
Anybody get close?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right. And playing on beliefs, I don't think anybody quite got that yet either. But I think, Cora, you got pretty close. You're starting to bark up that tree, which is great.
Thanks.
So we'll see more of that next time. But I'll give everybody just 1 XP for first session.
Hooray!
And if you scroll all the way down in this handout, you can see the XP for level. So you need 3 for level 2.
Is there a place for that on my sheet?
You just gotta make one of the little note
Okay.
squares,
Thank you.
probably. I don't know if there is an XP. The sheet's
I can check.
pretty sparse. Nah, it just has it just has the level part at the top.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Well, great session, everybody.
Yeah, I love
Woohoo.
it.
Everybody.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, everybody.